You didn't get any sleep last night as a result of all stuff Jungkook told you. How I could be so stupid, how I didn't catch on it earlier. You thought, everything was literally in front of you, guns around the house, so many guards, hell, even when Jungkook would leave the house in the middle of the night. You would lie if you said that you wasn't scared shitless last night when he told you that he was a mafia. He told you that he would never hurt you, and in a weird way that suit your fear slightly. He then let you know something about his job. You learn that Jungkook is capo along with his brother, which means that they are bosses, something like that. While his dad is a don and he is on top like he can boss of all the capos. Anyways, something like that. You didn't really listen to that part. You was still in shock at that point. Then he told you that Mark is his right hand man, which means that he can put the most trust in him from all his other men. Which made sense. He also told you that this is something that goes through his family over generations and that he will need to take over his dad's place in the mafia. But that will be when his dad retires or in case that something happens to him. It's still early and you were in the kitchen with Junghoon making the puree fruit while he sat in his high chair. Everyone is still asleep, so you was trying to be as quiet as possible, but that wasn't possible with giggling Junghoon. For 5 months old, he is really energetic and active. You was mixing fruit in the bowl and laughed lightly at Junghoon's babbling. Really? What happened, Janguna? You asked, trying to sound interested but at the same time holding your laugh as Junghoon continues to babble. A chuckle from behind you both frightened you a little, so you turned fast to check who the intruder is. Turning around, you found Jungkook leaning at the doorway with arms crossed over his chest. He looked good in black sweatpants and grey fitted shirt. Oh god, I need to stop. You thought, staring at him. He probably saw you checking him out because he sent you a wink while smirk tug on his lip. You could feel your cheeks getting warmer by second as you greeted him silently while turning back towards Junghoon. Morning. Good morning, he said as he pushed himself off the doorway and made his way to you and Junghoon. When he came next to Junghoon, he bent down and kissed Junghoon's head. You looked at him with admiration and wonder. How could someone like him, this wonderful father and good person, how could he be in something like the mafia? You thought. Aren't mafia guys? Aren't mafia guys tough, scary and violent? I guess not. You was probably too long in your thoughts because you was brought back by Jungkook who was snapping his fingers in front of your face. Are you okay? He asked you after you snapped out of your thoughts. Yeah, you said with a squeaky voice which caused Jungkook to laugh a little and you two blush even more. You sure? I hope that I didn't. He stopped himself for a moment. You scared with last night's, let's say, confession? You nodded your head, showing him that you understand what he's thinking. You did scared me. You chuckled a little, looking towards your feet. But I also know that I was here for the past 3 months and you never hurt me. And let's be honest, you had time and opportunities. And I hope you won't, right? You said, looking at him. He shook his head while looking at you. Of course not. That was all he managed to say before his parents walked in along with Sarah not far away behind them. Upon seeing the three of you, Jungkook's mom shot you a wide smile. Good morning, my sweethearts, she said. You both greeted them and you then returned to mixing Junghoon's fruit puree while Jungkook was playing with Junghoon. Upon finishing making breakfast for the little guy, you took him from Jungkook's arms and put him back into his high chair. You was about to start feeding Junghoon when there was loud yelling from the hallway. Jungkook was forced to stand. Don't worry, I'm gonna go and check what is happening, he said to you as he moved to exit the kitchen and check what's happening. Not long after, Mark emerged from the hallway into the kitchen looking annoyed. What's the problem, boy? Jungkook's dad was forced to ask as he looked at Mark raising one eyebrow. You turned your back to them and continued to feed Junghoon like you were supposed to but continue to listen. Guys came earlier than expected, so they called me to pick them up from the airport, Mark answered. Both of them, Isabel asked this time. Your brother arrived with Jihan too? Yeah, he said tiredly. You was feeding Junghoon when Jungkook came back along with more people. You should call me to come to pick you two idiots up from the airport and not Mark. Or even better, you could call a taxi or something, Jungkook exclaimed, sounding a little annoyed himself. My son, squealed Isabel as she skipped past you to greet guys who came in with Jungkook. You also got up from your seat and was about to turn around so you could greet them when a voice stopped you. Mama, said the voice which you could recognize anywhere, a voice which you know for the past 5 years, a voice of a really fucking close friend. Jian Jihan, it's nice that you decided to join us, said his dad. It's nice to be back, said another voice at the same time as first. Or did you miss me? You slowly turned around when the first voice started to speak again. And who made the person stopped speaking when your eyes locked with his. His and Yunjin's eyes almost fell out of their heads upon seeing you. Yunjin's coffee fell from his hands, spilling all over the floor along with the bowl from your hands. Pin-dropping silence fell over all of you as three of you looked at each other while others looked between you all. You guys know each other? Jungkook broke the silence. Jihan didn't pay much attention to his brother. Wyan, he said, starting to walk towards you. Lino, Yunjin, you said with confusion in your voice as you took a step back, which took him by surprise and he stopped in the spot. Lino, Yunjin, what are you speaking, sweetheart? This is my son Jihan and Mark's younger brother Matthew, said Isabel, her eyebrows scrunched together. You looked at her with a frown. What? Tesoro, I can explain, said Yunjin or Jihan or whatever should you call him. Explain. Was everything you said trying to keep your voice steady and calm as best as you could while turning your gaze to him? Well, I don't know how much do you know about my family, he started to say, but you was quick to cut him. Enough. You stopped him, referring to your knowledge about his family. Well, he stopped and shared a look with Lino, and then they both turned to look at Jungkook. And that was it. That was the moment when something snapped in you, and you just give up. You know that feeling when people constantly hurt you, that you just give up. That's the feeling you are feeling now. That one person that knows everything about you, about your past, your parents, and all shit you've been through with them, has been with you through your worst and best time. The same person that told you if they make you cry, they are not worth it unless those are tears of happiness, is making you cry now. You know what? Just forget it. You said and sighed heavily, crunching down to pick up the bowl. After you picked it, you walked around the counter and put it into a sink. Walking back, you picked Junghoon up and turned towards Jungkook with the biggest smile you could muster. I'm gonna. You stopped clearing your throat because your throat started hurting. I'm gonna go change him. You said, gesturing to Junghoon's dirty clothes. Jungkook looked at you with confusion but nodded anyway. As you was exiting, Hyunjin stopped in front of you, blocking your exit. Let us explain, he pleaded. You shook your head in disappointment and looked up at him. Does Felix know? Was the only thing that you asked him. He shook his head mutely. Nice. And with that, you left the kitchen and went upstairs. Getting into Junghoon's room, you changed him and sat down on a chair in the room while rocking him in your arms. Your mind wandered back to the first time you met those two people downstairs, which you now see you don't even know at all. You was with Felix on the beach in some cafe waiting for his new friends to come. He met them in Italy when he was there on the trip with your father. You didn't like meeting his friends because they wouldn't like you or you wouldn't like them. There was nothing in between. You sighed as you looked at some really dirty car parked right across from your table. Here they are. Don't worry, you will like them. They are not bad at all, Felix said, reassuring you. Hello, man, said the guy with brownish hair and a sleeve tattoo on his left arm while pulling Felix in a bro hug. He seems cute and he seems Korean. Behind him was another one guy, but he had light brown hair that looked blonde in the summer sun. Hey dude, Felix said, pulling away from the hug and shaking hand with another guy. And who she might be? The tattoo guy asked, looking at you with a charming smile, making your cheeks burn. This is my younger sister, Felix said, making guys nod. Well, it's nice to meet you, pretty girl. My name is Lino and this is Yunjin. And your name is? The tattoo guy said, pointing at himself and the blondish guy, then trailed off, waiting for of your name. Wyan, you said sweetly, smiling at him. It's nice to meet you both. You added, making a big grin pull on his lips. Pretty name for a pretty girl, Lino said with a wink and took a seat across you while Felix and Yunjin sat on each side of you. Guys spoke about some kind of car show that they wanted to visit and about the football game this week. Well, when you said guys, I mean Lino and Felix. Yunjin would sometimes say something, but he would usually keep quiet. You turn around and look towards the sea and accidentally kick your phone down from the table, making it land under Yunjin's chair. He was quick to grab it and hand it to you. Here you go, he said, and you smiled at him. Thank you, you said, making his eyes widen a little. You Korean? He asked, and you nodded. Yes, you said, making him surprised. Yeah, she is Korean, but she doesn't look like one, and also she is good with languages. Felix choked in, making Lino hands snap in your direction. Really? You speak any other language? He asked, tilting his head ever so slightly. Yeah, I speak my native language Korean, English, Italian, German, and Spanish, Turkish, and Russian. You said, making his eyes widen. So, not just pretty, but smart also. You are real treasure. He said, smirking a little, making Yunjin hit him at the back of his head, bring laugh around the table. Jungkook watched as you climbed upstairs and then turned towards Jihan. Can someone explain to me that what the fuck just happened? He said, looking between Yunjin and Lino, Jihan and Matthew. You two know her? Yunjin nodded his head and ran his hand through his hair and over his face. Yeah, we know her, he said as he looked at Lino, who also nodded. How do you know her? And what's with fake names? Yunjin, Lino? His dad jumped in. Well, you see, Yunjin started. We came across her brother in Germany when he stopped showing between Lino and himself. When we were at that mission 5, almost 6 years ago, we became really good friends with her brother and then he introduced us to her. And with time, we all became friends, but we never actually told them our real names. And yeah, that's it. And now we fucked up really bad. Did you, fucker? The cushion flew from his mouth before he could even think about it. On the sound of cushion, Yunjin's head shot towards him. No, I would never. She's like, no, I wasn't. He said with furrowed brows while Lee No snickered behind him. Jungkook don't know why, but he was glad to hear that and at the same time surprised because girls usually throw themselves at him. It's not like he didn't try, but she turned him down multiple times. Lino said, trying to stifle a laugh. She's running away from him like an alcoholic from a juice box. He added and burst laughing. Shut up. Yunjin hissed at him. It wasn't like that. We just aren't meant to be. He said jokingly, but then frowned again. It's not that, it's the fact that you don't know how to flirt with her. Lino said, laughing, making Yunjin furrow his eyebrows. It's not like you know how to flirt with her? He asked while putting his hand over his chest, faking being offended. Yunjin shook his head, slightly smiling. No, I wouldn't flirt with her because I don't see her that way. But also, if I would flirt with her, I wouldn't on her writing. Watch me on dirty car answer with the text, my place at 10, I'm gonna run a bath. Yunjin said mockingly, bursting in laughter. This took all by surprise, making laugh erupts in the kitchen. After they all calmed down, Jungkook looked back at the guys. We should tell her when we had a chat. Yunjin started but got cut by Lino. Said what exactly? Hey, we are in shady business and this isn't our real names, you know? All too well that we couldn't do that. That's true, but also, I trust her with my life. She would understand. Maybe we could have told her about our names at least. I know for the fact that she wouldn't ask any. She wouldn't ask any questions if we told her that those names are fake, but that we couldn't tell her real one. Jihan said and Lino nodded. Well, actually she knows about the family business part. Jungkook said and all heads snapped in his direction. Yeah, I told her last night when she caught me all covered in blood, he added. Well, fan-fucking-tastic, said Lino under his breath. And how did she react? Jihan asked. He was about to answer when he added, I swear to fucking God, if you threaten her, I will. Shut up. I didn't. I told her about it and she was scared at first, but then she calmed down. When I told her that I wouldn't hurt her, she said that something was fishy because of so much. Because of so much security and guns all over the house, but she didn't expect mafia. She thought that mafia doesn't exist anymore. He finally said, okay, but how did you guys meet? I mean, she told us that she's working for some woman who need help with her kids. Jihan said and furrowed his brows in confusion. Jungkook furrowed his eyebrows also in confusion because he don't remember you saying anything about babysitting. But then again, maybe that was the job interview that he was coming from when they bumped into each other. The day after she moved here, we met at a coffee shop and he stopped talking when he saw look at guys' faces. They were mad. Well, not exactly. Eugene was mad while Lino looked amused. In a coffee shop? Asked Jihan with frustration evident in his voice. Yeah, why? Because same day later that night, she told us that she got a babysitter job for a woman, said Yunjin. Jungkook looked at him confused but then snapped his attention to Lino. He started to laugh again. When he calmed himself and straightened after he received a glare from Yunjin. Let's be honest. What would you do in her place? You and Felix both keep her away from any kind of independence. Okay, she has her place. She lives alone. That's not the point here. You both told her not to move here, but when she didn't give up, Yunjin cut him off. She didn't give up because you were on her side. Stop cutting me. Of course, I took her side. She needed to leave from there, but you two. You two idiots didn't see that. But anyway, back to what I was saying, you also told her that if she doesn't find a job, then to come back home. Didn't you? She had an opportunity to stay here and she took it. She knew that if she told you too that she is working for a single father, you two would sit on the first flight and drag her ass home. So don't you dare to say some shit to her, because on her place I would do the same. Why do I think that you knew about this all this time? Yunjin asked after a short silence. I didn't, but I had some feeling that she didn't tell us the whole truth. Okay, now that's all settled. What do we do now? I think that's it. Just do a big bomb drop at her at once. Give her a little time to set everything in her head. But what do you mean she needed to leave? Jungkook said, looking at them. It's not our place to tell, they said in the same voice. Sarah inserted herself in the conversation. Okay, breakfast is done. Can someone go get girls? Jungkook nodded his head. He turned around, heading towards Junghoon's room. Nearing the room, he could hear laughter. He opened the door only to find girls making funny faces at Junghoon, who is laughing his ass off. That brought a smile to his face. Jungkook cleared his throat to get their attention. They both spun around to face him. Jungkook sent them a small smile. The breakfast is done. Come to eat downstairs. Somi was first to jump on her feet and dashed downstairs. Jungkook laughed at that along with you. After they calmed a little, Jungkook turned towards you. Are you okay? He asked you with concern in his voice. He know that it's all too much for you to take at once. I'm fine. That was all you said. You sure? He asked once again and you nodded your head, staying silent. Jungkook sighed and changed the theme. Okay, then let's go to eat breakfast. You nodded your head but didn't say anything. The whole breakfast was unusually quiet. Jungkook would occasionally catch Yoonjin, Jihan and Lino, Matthew stale glances at you, but you ignored them completely. Through the whole breakfast, you ignored them even the whole day. It was actually laughable to see Yunjin stressing over a goal, but that was also making Jungkook kind of. He don't know what's the feeling. Jealous maybe, but definitely he doesn't like this feeling.